Hi, Gosha here. Welcome to my channel, or hello again. Today I will be tackling a subject: why sensitive people, why empaths have such a short fuse, why you might be more prone to suffering from anxiety, why you might be on the defensive side now and again, and why you are so reactive in your reactions to the world, and what can you do to change this? Because let's be honest, these things are very uncomfortable. So I'm talking about this because I know I've been there and I've worked through this subject for so long. So I'm confident in sharing the things that will help you when you apply them. So first of all, let's address why it happens. Why it happens that you have such a reactive nature. Well, the thing is, sensitive people, highly sensitive people, empaths, have this sort of tendency to live in kind of a pressure cooker scenario in their mind, body. As an empath, as a highly sensitive person, you were very likely shaped and brought up in an environment that was a little bit chaotic, that was maybe lacking in attention towards you. So you had to turn your little girl's attention to the outside world so that you mold yourself, that you adjust your behavior, your ways of being and acting, so that people accept you. And for children, obviously that means survival, because people, adults in your life, were an equivalent of safety. So this is the first connection that I want to draw. The external environment and appeasing and trying to control it, and in our child's brain we think like we can control it to some extent. By changing these behaviors, it equates to the sense of safety. So let's get back to the analogy I started mentioning before, the pressure cooker. So very sensitive people have this tendency to hold things inside because we are taught, we are conditioned to be so externally focused. There is very little inward attention. So there is like attention that's being drawn between our inner selves and between the external world. And because your attention has been placed externally for so long, you have been unintentionally, unconsciously depriving yourself from that inner flow of nourishing emotions, nourishing reserves, nourishing ideas and connections that are happening when a person is turned inwards. And you can think maybe when someone is a little bit more selfish than you, then a person is turned inwards in thinking about what are my needs, what is what I desire, how do I want to live my life. But because you were not taught how to look after yourself as a priority, actually quite the opposite, you were focused on meeting someone else's needs externally, in trying to reassure people, in reacting and having this sort of really high alert vigilance to the external world that kind of detaches you from what's going on inside of you. And I speak in all my channel a lot in the terms of how energy works, because we cannot just address what are your thoughts, like your conscious thoughts, and as so many people do, or just try to do some self-protection exercises and believe that it's going to change anything. You really have to address the root of what is going on, because simply applying sort of band-aid on something that is so deeply ingrained in you, it might have a very short results at best. Sometimes it doesn't even have any results if you just apply this kind of superficial methods. So, okay, what is that pressure cooker doing is that tension, that separation between what's your inner needs, what's the needs of the external world, so that you are so focused on them that you unconsciously think, believe, and have this sort of story in your mind that you will find safety and assurance in your life by doing something with the external world. So you kind of negate and ignore what's going on inside. And this inner conflict, this kind of battle of interests, is what causes that pressure and tension within. Actually, so many people that are highly sensitive are so much prone to body issues. So basically having some sort of physical illness or physical symptoms. And so many people that came to work with me in my first business, when I was mostly offering mind-body education for people to resolve their physical pains or disease, were highly sensitive people, were women with highly sensitive traits, were very often empaths. And this is what led me to connect all these things, that, well, there is too much of coincidence, right? And you might have experienced as well some sort of tension that results in maybe headaches or gut problems or maybe even some body pains. And that wouldn't be surprising to me either. So this inner tension is not just something that is like, oh yeah, I'm tense, I'm stressed, and I'm just going to deal with it. No, it just goes very, very deep, because you're putting the lid down on the pressure cooker in order to stifle your authentic expression. What do I mean by this? Well, the thing is, if you were used to and conditioned to take care of everything on the outside and ignore yourself, maybe your true expression wasn't welcome when you show yourself, authentically or truthfully as a child, and you were put down to your place, maybe, be a good girl. Good girls don't speak like that. You should be quiet, and, all sorts of phrases that you may be just, remembering from childhood, that I'm smiling at this, but actually it might come with a lot of pain when you reach to memory, to those events that created these stories in your mind, that created this inner conflict, that stifled your truth nature, that stifled your true expression. And so you have to keep the lid down on your truthful expression and constantly filter yourself and constantly just try to correct yourself even before you do anything, even before you speak up. You just try to mold yourself to suit the environment, to make yourself more likable, perhaps, to make yourself more acceptable, to assure some sort of safe scenario to play out, so that you can control the environment, the world, the outcomes as much as you can. But it comes with a very high price, because first of all, you can't control the external world, and this is something maybe you have learned already. We cannot control the environment, we cannot control other people. We actually have no right to control others people's truth and opinions about us. So molding yourself and doing that from the sort of behavioral adjustment is going to just backfire, because you have to keep the lid on in your pressure cooker on your true expression in trying to secure something that might or might not happen. So this is the first kind of really important understanding I wanted you to have. And this pressure that has been growing throughout your life is what makes you and so many highly sensitive people, so many empaths, highly reactive, very prone to anxiety, very prone to defensiveness. And you may be thinking like, yeah, but I'm so gentle, I'm so calm, I'm so, easygoing, or at least you try to project that image. But because of that inner pressure, there will be triggers, whether you want it or not, that it's like someone just touches you with some inappropriate thing, and you would explode either externally, as in sort of defensiveness. That's one of the options that I've seen so often. Or if you have the lid screwed down very tightly, then you will turn it all inwards, and all the pressure remains inside in the sort of anxiety when you just try to strategize. What should you do next? What would be the response that would give you more beneficial kind of effects? So you're still trying to mold yourself so that you indirectly find a level of safety coming again from the outside. And the thing is, this is a futile effort. So you have exhausted so much energy by having this anxiety, or by, being so short-fused and reactive and defensive, in trying to address something that, first of all, like I said, you can't control environment, you can't control other people's truth. If they like you, if they don't like you, if they think that you are worthy, if they think that you are hardworking, whatever is your agenda to prove, whatever is your identity to prove yourself as, you will be very, very reactive to anything that speaks against that identity that you have created. This is a very interesting kind of conundrum to solve, because you're thinking, so how on earth am I supposed to feel safer if, first of all, I can't produce these outcomes 100% of times, not even half of this probably, because life has its own way of working itself out, and you attaching all that attention and emotion and holding in all that emotion, being very obsessed with a specific outcome you have about how a person would perceive you, how a group of people would see you, or how a situation would play out, and you have so much attachment linked to this, then it comes with so much suffering, because life has its own ways. Now, the only way to resolve this, whether you like this or not, is through facing the original fears that you have repressed. You have to risk all that facade that you built and find a way to present your truth in the outside world. I'm not going to lie to you that it's going to be easy from the day one. It will get easier though, as you live your life living your truth. And first of all, you have to start knowing yourself. What is your truth? Because the chances are that if you have lived for a couple or 3 or more decades of your life presenting a sort of image that you thought would be something that people want to see, then the chances are that you completely forgot, or you never tapped into what are your needs, what do you want, what do you care about. So going back to the very basics, and I know it can be tedious in the beginning, but you can also treat this as fun, because this is a really beginnings of your self-loving journey, when you claim what's yours and you take the responsibility for making yourself happy, as opposed to copying, molding yourself to all these kind of weird shapes trying to guess what people will like, so you get a few breadcrumbs of love or acceptance from the outside. But you own your love to yourself, and you start liking yourself by knowing yourself and by giving yourself the right to do that, by giving yourself the time and attention to know yourself. And when you define somewhat in your mind what you like, what you need, what you don't like, what you don't accept in your life, then you can start, in small steps, showing this to people and showing and expressing this to people, new people especially, that that will, you have a blank slate, so you can just as well start presenting the real you without obsessing about the old coping behaviors and trying to guess what they might like and making a chameleon out of yourself, right? This is so common, and I've heard this so many times. People who work with me, they often report feeling like they're a chameleon. Totally get it. And as much as I wasn't a chameleon, I had many people pleasing and playing small behaviors in my past. So you need to find a way to show your truth. You need to find a way to speak your truth. And your truth is the only thing you will be concerned about. I'm not saying you will become selfish. I'm not saying you will start saying people, your truth is bad. It's only about mine. The thing is, you are allowed to have your own truth, and people are allowed to have their own truth. And we do not need in adult life to have people approve of us as we did maybe when we were children, when our lives depended on these few adults or maybe one adult. But now you need to start speaking your truth and showing yourself authentically. This is the lid coming off to release some sort of inner tension. And I know it will present another sort of tension, another sort of fear that comes with it. But trust me, it will get so much easier when you start doing this, because soon you will know and you will find out how great it tastes to give yourself your own approval when you say, this is my truth, this is what I believe in, this is what is dear to me, and this is how I'm going to show up, this is what I'm going to convey to people, this is what I'm going to express, this is what I'm going to ask and request and demand to have, as in, for example, respect, or have some sort of boundaries, right? So all these things, in the beginning, they are always hard because, let's be honest, you are well wired to mold yourself, to become chameleon, to please people, just to make yourself smaller, to fit in someone's, kind of idea of what is convenient to them. But by doing this, you are not playing the main role in your life. All that you're doing is you're just becoming an extra in others people's life. And this is a sad realization that many of my clients had to hear, but this is what I'm sharing here very lovingly. But you have to stop doing this. You have to become the main actor, the main producer, the main director in your life. And this is what will actually create all the things that you were looking for externally, causing so much anxiety, causing so much reactivity, causing so much defensiveness, and like being constantly on high alert. But you can source it by approving yourself and seeing how the world reacts to it. Let's be honest, there will be people that don't like it, especially people that got used to you pleasing them. They want to keep you insecure. They want to keep you small. They want you to be walking on eggshells. Of course they do, because it's more easy for them. It's more convenient to have an extra, someone serving them, someone doing favors for them, someone making themselves small so that they can feel bigger, right? Or maybe you reassuring them, reassuring their ego, and by that you are diminishing yourself. You are, stifling your own self-expression and not shining your light. So, like I said, this is the truth that you have to face, that some people will not like it, they might reject you, and this is something that you have to start expecting and anticipating. And the ones that will hear what you have to say in the new way and say, okay, I can deal with that, So you kind of renegotiate your relationship, or you might even say, hey, I'm working through this, and from now on, I'm changing the way we communicate. And you see how they react. The thing is that people who reject your truth, they reject you being authentic, you don't even want them in your life. You only had them in your life to create the false sense of safety, to create the false sense of, acceptance. That was so conditional, that was barely tolerance, as I'm guessing it, and it's probably right. All you were doing is just not rocking the boat. But these are not deep connections that you want to keep anyway. So if some people will reject you, then good riddance. It's good for you. You don't want to keep them in your life anymore. Your authentic life, your true self, deserves all the people that accept what you say, that accepts your truth. And even you might have arguments with people, because it's normal to have disagreements or something like that. But you will not accept from now on a person that wants you to keep small so that they feel good about themselves. And this is for you to decide today if you want to release anxiety, if you want to release that reactivity, if you want to release a sort of, jumpiness when the tiny trigger comes and you react so out of proportion. What this will happen as well over time when you become authentic, you are able to feel changes that happen in your emotions, like I explained, but also in your body, in your sensory perception, because you relieve some of that pressure cooker and you give yourself unconsciously the signal that at least in front of yourself, you can be truthful. You can be honest with yourself. And this is a massive shift that really changes something in your physiology, in our physiology. This is true for all people, that the more we become authentic, the more healthy we are. Balanced mental health, physical health, happiness, and living in abundance is nothing else than living aligned with your core self, with your soul truth. And I speak all about this in my other videos. I can post some here. And this is really how we become nourished from within. We tap into that ever-flowing spring that, it has been here all the time, but we were trying to catch nurturance and, some acceptance, love, or whatever, but this nurturance and energy from the outside, and sacrificing so much from within that you were not tapping into the direct source of your love, health, peace, clarity. All the amazing things are within. So basically, the journey to your liberation as a highly sensitive person is definitely going to be through your self-acceptance, through voicing your truth, through living your truth, through making choices that are self-loving, that are choices towards a more trusting reality, right? And if you want to understand exactly how you would be doing these choices, if you want to know the step by step how to navigate your life for self-loving decisions that will compound into a more authentic and more aligned life, free from that pressure, you can download the free guides that I offer from the description of this video. And if you want to go even deeper, if you want to address your specific needs, your specific obstacles and challenges in your life that are holding you back, you can also reach out to contact me for one-on-one coaching, and I would love to hear from you. All the links and recommended videos will be in the description of this video, so you can check out later. For now, I hope this has been helpful, and I wish you an amazing week ahead. Bye.